Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com. In this tutorial we're going to just tweak our histogram a little bit because the problem here is that let's get rid of these files and look at the code we had from the last tutorial. If we look at the output from the last program, the number of iterations per pixel gradually decreases as we get towards large numbers of iterations, and all this data is good. But right at the end, we've got a lot of pixels that have reached the maximum number of iterations, and we just at that point gave up because we have to give up with them somewhere. Now those are kind of probably traditionally usually set to black. We don't want to include those in our calculation of color because they're going to really skew our results and make our Mandelbrot fractal look really pixely and horrible. So we want to eliminate this last entry here from the histogram. So you could pause the video and go ahead and see if you can do that yourself. It's quite simple to do. And if you want the solution, I'm going to give it to you now. So at the moment our histogram goes up to max iterations plus 1. But we only need to store, we don't need to store the pixels with that actual max iterations number, so we can just get rid of that plus 1 for a start, because it only needs to be this big. Now it's really important that we don't write into memory that we haven't allocated, so we're going to have to put a check in here before we actually store the histogram. Let's say if iterations is equal to Mandelbrot : max iterations, then in that case we don't want to do the store. So actually maybe it's easier to say if it's not equal to max iterations, and then we can enclose this histogram code here in our if statement. Later on we're going to actually use this histogram and we have to make sure that whenever we use it we're not going right up to max iterations. So here in this for loop here that we've got in temporarily at the moment, we want to make it less than, not less than or equal to, so that this index which we use to access the histogram never actually reaches the number max iterations. And that's all we've got at the moment. So now we never want to actually try to access this histogram with that actual number. Okay, so when we run this code now, we should see a nice sort of smooth pattern where we get to smaller and smaller numbers of pixels as we got the iterations, and then we never actually hit the maximum number of iterations. This is just some more information that I'm outputting down here, and we can see that the total count of all pixels that we've now stored in the histogram is considerably less than the actual total number of pixels. That's all for this tutorial. Until next time, happy coding.